Is there an experiment that proves God exists? What if reality isn't as fixed and predictable as we think? What if our observations shape the very world we experience? In 1801, a groundbreaking experiment challenged everything we believed about existence. The double-slit experiment revealed a startling truth. Particles can behave like waves, and their behavior changes depending on whether or not they are being observed. How can something so fundamental defy logic? How does reality seem to shift based on the simple act of looking? This discovery became the foundation of quantum mechanics, opening a door to questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and existence itself. Even today, while we rely on technologies born from this knowledge, we often resist what this experiment truly implies: that we influence reality through observation. Could our thoughts and attention be shaping our lives in ways we've never imagined? This is more than physics. It's an invitation to explore how we create our reality. Are you ready to question your perception of the world? Welcome to one of humanity's greatest discoveries, where science meets the mystery of existence. What is the double-slit experiment? Thomas Young was a brilliant polymath of the 19th century. Born in England in 1773, he was one of those rare geniuses who excelled in multiple fields. Beyond being a physicist, he was also a physician, linguist, and Egyptologist, making significant contributions to the fields of optics, acoustics, and even the deciphering of the Rosetta Stone. Due to his boundless curiosity and diverse intelligence, Young was often called the last man who knew everything. In 1801, he conducted a groundbreaking experiment that would transform our understanding of light, and ultimately reality itself. At the time, scientists were divided by a major debate. Was light made of particles, as Sir Isaac Newton believed, or was it made of waves, as suggested by thinkers like Christian Huygens? For this, he devised a simple yet incredibly ingenious experiment. Young began with a light source, initially a candle, as electricity was not yet widely available. He positioned the light to pass through a small aperture, creating a thin, directed beam. This beam was then directed toward a barrier, with two very narrow slits placed close together. Behind this barrier was a white screen where he could observe the outcome. If light were composed of particles, like bullets fired from a gun, Young expected to see two bands of light on the screen, directly aligned with the two slits. This would make sense because the light particles would pass through one slit or the other and travel straight to the screen. However, what he observed was surprising. Instead of two bands of light, he saw an interference pattern consisting of multiple alternating light and dark bands, like ripples on a water surface. This pattern indicated that light did not behave as isolated particles, but as waves passing through both slits simultaneously. As the waves passed through the slits, they spread out and overlapped, creating regions of constructive interference, bright bands, and destructive interference, dark bands. Young concluded that light was indeed a wave, confirming the wave theory and challenging the dominant idea of the time, which viewed light as particles. More than 100 years later, when quantum physics began to take shape, scientists revisited the double-slit experiment, this time with more sophisticated equipment and using individual particles like electrons and photons. They fired these particles one by one toward the slits and observed the results. The unexpected happened. Even when firing isolated particles, the interference pattern still formed on the screen. This suggested that each particle was somehow passing through both slits simultaneously, behaving like a wave and interfering with itself. However, the true strangeness emerged when scientists installed detectors to observe which slit each particle passed through. At the moment this measurement was made, the interference pattern disappeared, and the particles behaved as if they had passed through only one of the slits. This phenomenon revealed that the behavior of particles changed depending on whether or not they were being observed. In other words, the mere presence of an observer seemed to determine whether the particles acted as waves or particles. This phenomenon, known as wave function collapse, was introduced by Werner Heisenberg, a pioneering German theoretical physicist. In essence, before particles are observed, they exist in a state called superposition, where all potential states coexist simultaneously. Imagine an electron existing in multiple places at once, representing infinite possibilities. However, the moment it is measured or observed, all these possibilities collapse into a single definite state. The double-slit experiment illustrates this strange quantum behavior. Particles act like waves until they are observed, at which point they act like particles. This reveals that, at the quantum level, reality isn't fixed. It is a fluid field of endless potential that takes form only through interaction with an observer. This leads to a profound question. What role does the observer play in shaping the universe? Could it be that human consciousness, seemingly separate from physical reality, actively influences how matter behaves? Interestingly, this idea echoes the ancient wisdom of Hermes Trismegistus, who stated, "As above, so below." Perhaps our perception and reality are more interconnected than we ever imagined. The collapse of the wave function. Imagine standing before a closed door. Behind it, there might be a dog, a cat, or even nothing at all. Until you open the door, all these possibilities coexist, existing in your mind as potential outcomes. In the quantum world, particles behave similarly. Before observation, they exist in a state known as superposition, where they hold all possible states at once, like being in multiple places simultaneously. However, the instant you observe or measure the particle, something remarkable happens. All the potential states collapse into a single reality. The act of observation forces the particle to choose one specific outcome. It's as if your attention transforms uncertainty into certainty, making one possibility real while the others vanish. This is what we call the collapse of the wave function. The mere attention of the observer transforms possibility into reality. In life, this means that whatever we focus our attention on grows and takes shape. When you concentrate your thoughts, energy, and intentions on something, be it a dream, a goal, or a relationship, you are literally shaping the direction your life takes. For instance, if you focus your energy on problems, it's as if you are measuring and strengthening that reality. On the other hand, if you direct your attention to solutions and possibilities, that is the reality that begins to take form. A person facing financial difficulties who spends all their time thinking about debts will only increase those debts more and more. However, if their focus shifts to how to make money to pay the debts, the solution, opportunity, or connection will soon appear. If you feel stuck in a situation, the collapse of the wave function teaches that limitations are temporary. There are infinite possibilities waiting to manifest as soon as you change the focus of your observation. Remember the first Hermetic principle: the universe is mental. The quantum vacuum. Thomas Young's experiment sparked the emergence of quantum mechanics and all its implications. However, among all the concepts derived from it, the most fundamental to understand is what is known as the quantum vacuum. Imagine you have an extremely powerful microscope and point it at your hand. You would first see the molecules that form your skin. Going deeper, you would observe atoms with protons and neutrons in the nucleus and electrons orbiting around them. Delving even further, you would see quarks, elementary particles even smaller than protons and neutrons. This is where science has reached so far. From here, there are two main interpretations. One suggests that beneath the level of quarks are superstrings, while the other posits the existence of the Higgs boson, the field that gives mass to everything that exists. But what lies beneath that? The quantum vacuum, an infinite field of primordial energy. It is from this that everything that exists emerges. The energy that emerges and comes into contact with the Higgs boson field, which also emerges from the quantum vacuum, gives mass to quarks, which form protons, which form atoms, which form molecules, which form cells, which form organs, which form the bodies of all organic beings, for example, the human being. This is the pure and simple reality. Everything comes from the quantum vacuum. It is everything that exists. Everything else is either an emanation or a self-organization of it. Other interpretations are metaphorical, and any metaphor is valid as long as it is understood to be a metaphor. Everything that exists is made up of primordial energy. This quantum vacuum is present in everything, from the level of the primordial ocean of energy from which everything emerges to galaxies, galaxy clusters, and the entire universe. Nothing is outside the quantum vacuum. It is everything that exists. It is fundamentally important to understand this. There is nothing that is not the quantum vacuum. It is the energy present in everything. It is energy, pure energy, without mass or matter. Mass only appears when energy interacts with the Higgs boson field, which also comes from the quantum vacuum. When people understand that they are formed by the quantum vacuum and that everything else is as well, all problems will disappear. Everything will be resolved. Being formed by the quantum vacuum means its essence is within every person. This essence is what is referred to as the divine spark, a particle of the quantum vacuum, like its fingerprint. Every being that exists has an individual and individualized divine spark emanating from the quantum vacuum. The spark is the quantum vacuum itself. Understanding and recognizing this is what is called enlightenment. The enlightened being is one who feels this. Feeling is the key here. Without feeling, the divine spark cannot be accepted, and thus the illusion of separation continues. To love the all, one must feel that the all is the essence of everything that exists. On the deepest level, the all and the person are the same thing, but the person must feel this. When someone feels this, they begin to let the all resolve everything. This is what is meant by abandoning the ego, allowing the spark to act, setting aside personal interests, and letting the spark guide everything. Without this, a person will try to control their own life with their mind. At this point, problems will inevitably arise because ignoring the all and attempting to control a life that is formed by the all is entirely illogical and cannot work. Releasing the ego and letting the spark take care of everything is the only solution. This does not mean doing nothing, no working, no studying, etc. Quite the opposite. We must do everything within our power so that the spark can act. Remember that the spark resides within our bodies, and the body is the vehicle for the spark. The vehicle must be in the best possible condition. Problems arise more and more until a person understands and accepts that the divine spark exists. Suffering is not necessary to grasp this. Simply accepting it resolves everything. Suffering comes from resisting the understanding that everything is the all, and the all is everything that exists. It's like being inside a body, like a cell in a liver, for example, and not accepting that you are part of the liver. We are within the all. The all is within us. One is all, and all is one. Every war, enslavement, murder, abuse, exploitation, and so on exists because of the illusion of separation, of failing to recognize that everything is interconnected. When you harm someone else, you harm yourself. Now let me ask you, what are the characteristics usually attributed to God? Omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. The quantum vacuum is the ocean of potential energy from which everything emerges. In other words, it is present in everything, making it omnipresent. It is a wave of infinite possibilities, meaning it can do anything, making it omnipotent. And because it is in everything, it is present in everything that happens, meaning it knows everything, making it omniscient. For those still struggling to understand, the quantum vacuum can be thought of as God, the creator, the source of all existence. This infinite field of potential energy is where everything originates. To understand the quantum vacuum is to recognize the essence of the divine, the fundamental source behind all matter and reality. If humanity fully grasped this concept, we could dissolve the divisions that lead to war, exploitation, abuse, and hunger. Right now, quantum mechanics, much like Newton's theory of gravity or Einstein's theory of relativity, is met with skepticism and debate. Though scientifically proven, its implications are so profound that many resist accepting them. This reluctance is natural. Such a paradigm shift challenges our perception of reality and our place within it. Yet, truth has a way of surfacing, regardless of our denial. One day, these ideas will be taught in schools alongside fundamental laws like gravity. Children will learn not just the mechanics of the physical world, but the interconnected nature of existence itself. As Max Planck, the father of quantum physics, famously said, science advances one funeral at a time. Eventually, new generations will embrace these truths, reshaping our world for the better.